Looking back, I didn't think I would be here. This is something that I love and I really value. And so now that I'm here, every time I ride, similar to like when I play basketball, it really feels like a gift for me. I didn't have this privilege a little while ago, and so every chance I'm in here is really special.
There are countless tales of athletes surmounting challenges on their journey to greatness. But Annie Tate's story stands out, marked by relentless adversity.
Freshman year of high school, I had made varsity, was playing at a really high level, had looks from D1, and then ended up getting a concussion.
It was undiagnosed, and she played again soon after. She fell down and hit her head again.
Woke up the next morning, couldn't remember the past 2 years of my life, and then my eyes were like not converging, and so I couldn't really see.
5 months into recovery, all of a sudden her balance was back, and they said her brain would all of a sudden turn it back on. She said, "Can I play basketball?" 5 weeks later, she was on the court playing travel basketball.
Annie would go on to play for Wheaton College, an NCAA Division III school located west of Chicago.
A 5'10" sophomore guard, number 33, Annie Tate.
As a sophomore, she averaged an impressive 19 points and 8 rebounds per game, earning All-American honors.
What a play to Tate, the future of the Thunder.
But then she was hit with more daunting challenges. First, she would undergo surgery for tarsal tunnel syndrome, which caused severe nerve pain in her foot.
Every day, I would grab her foot, and sometimes I'd even use fork or knife, and you'd have to grind it up and down that scar tissue. But she said, "It's worth it, I'm gonna go play."
But her return was short-lived, as later that year, she'd have 2 more surgeries for spinal hemangioma to shrink an enlarged tumor that encircled her spine. After extensive rehabilitation, she was once again set to return to the court.
She was moving, and she felt really good, but we ended up in the emergency room.
Annie felt a sharp stabbing pain in her chest, exacerbated with each breath, leaving her gasping for air.
Honestly, the worst pain I've ever felt in my life, and I've gone through a lot. The doc comes in and has like this solemn look on his face, looks me straight in the eye and says, "You're suffering from a pulmonary embolism, multiple pulmonary emboli actually, and you're very lucky to be alive."
You worry about a blood clot in your leg. In your lung, it's a very, very different ballgame. Now it's life or death.
And so all of the emotions hit me at once, right? Like I was in so much pain. And my dad comes over to me with tears in his eyes, which he never ever cries. And he was basically just like holding me and clinging to me like it might have been his last time. I was terrified. And then seeing my dad in that state is something that I will never forget.
Annie was released from the hospital, but was bedridden at home. She was on blood thinners, and her breathing was labored. She could barely move without assistance.
It was very touch and go for a lot of it. Then on top of it, she developed the flu and then got pneumonia and pleurisy. So just was sort of a spiral. And there were definite times, I mean, I hate to even say it, but I was scared that we might lose her. So just, it was a fight for her life, for sure.
Finally, at like 3 months is when I started feeling better. I go to the doctor, my pulmonologist, and I was like, "Hey, can I start running?" And she's like, "Yes, just take it easy, okay?" And I signed up for a half marathon that day. And so exactly 5 months after suffering a pulmonary embolism, I was able to successfully complete my half marathon.
Most people don't go from blood clots and then a half marathon in that short amount of time. Annie's not normal. Normal humans don't do that.
So that kind of sparked a little bit in me, and I was like, oh, I think I can actually start playing basketball.
She started lifting, hitting the gym. After this situation, she came back the strongest I've ever seen her.
On November 10th, 2023, Annie returned to the court to play her first game in 2 years.
She's going to kick it out to the top of the key. I believe that's number 33. And Wheaton's going to get the first score.
She hit her first shot, and I just started crying. I was like, oh my gosh, she did it. She's back.
My father was in tears. My mom was in tears. My wife, she's in tears.
As Tate is going to put up the three and connects. Andy Tate, 16 points.
That's not a bad start to not being on the court for almost 2 years.
I stood in awe of just the miracle that was, and that she went from unable to breathe to now running up and down the court to contributing to her team beautifully. It was truly a miracle.
And Tate's going to get the basket.
Annie went on to average 20 points and 7 rebounds on the season. She was named to the All-Conference and Regional team and broke the NCAA Division III record for most free throws in a game with 28.
When you have something taken away from you and then you have an opportunity to do it again, you just have a new love for it and a new appreciation for the game and for the people around you.
The thing I'm most proud of my daughter, there is no quit. If she sets her mind on something, I don't care how many times you knock her down, it's only gonna make her work harder.
She is just 100% full of life and full of love, and she doesn't let her disappointment harden her heart.
I think I'm most proud of myself that now I live a life where I feel like if I hadn't gone through this, I wouldn't be experiencing and living the way that I am. I feel like I live each day very purposefully because I know that it could be taken from me in an instant. It shaped me into who I am.